Well, consistency isn't a bad thing.
It's not. It's what I like about it. Shall we?
Lead the way, my friend.
Aye. And with that, he would make his way to the tavern that I forgot the name of.
The Dumpy Lighthouse.
Dumpy Lighthouse.
Oh god, we're going the whole way to Dowhurst?
Oh, I imagine this just happened one time when you were there.
Yeah.
Because I imagine you guys are going to be in various places throughout the course of this rebuilding effort, because there's a lot of stuff to do everywhere.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to go back to like Arcanon proper as much as I possibly can because
I mean, that's fair.
My house is there.
I live here.
I want to go back to my old bed.
Well, I mean, there's huge time left, so it's...
And so Davian,
Mm-hmm.
You guys get to the Dumpy Lighthouse. But something that you notice is that everyone's not here. Some are, of course. A couple that happen to be here in the area, but they're not all here.
Oh, that's a first.
I mean, they have things to take care of.
It's true.
Elliot has people to save.
That he does.
Marilyn is traveling along with him. Back in Brimrat at the moment. The others would inform you.
I probably wasn't paying attention.
Melody's out and about, but she's been helping the Zodians get things put together. She has she's in the city, but she's preparing for what she needs to do when she returns back home. And Wilson has been spending a lot of time with Varro, and has been preparing to leave as far as that's concerned too. But Wilson and Nate Wilson, Nate, and Duke are the three people that you find here when you arrive. The others are at the moment off taking care of one thing or the other.
Huh.
Davian, Nate says.
Nate. Suppose everyone's doing their own thing.
He nods and he takes a drink from the drink that he's got. Yeah, seems like it. Shit, I never actually thought that this would. Never thought this would actually end, you know?
Me either. But hey, we got what we wanted.
Yeah. It's just guess it just seems a little bittersweet, is all.
True.
So, I assume you're looking for everyone, eh?
Yeah, everyone. Everyone whom I think would be interested, but just thought I'd give them the offer.
And Duke sighs, and they look to you and say, "Well, I didn't want to trouble you while you were still grieving, but you should know that Well, both Starling and Ira have already put in their resignations. The two of them had other things to take care of after this, and they finished their contracts and decided to separate themselves from the rest of us.
I
Not
figured as much.
Not surprising, I suppose.
No.
Melody, likewise. She intends to be returning to Zodia, so from what I understand, she will be. She just gave her paperwork as well, and what's left of some of the contracts and put them out on the table. Elliot and Marilyn are still haven't said anything yet, but they kind of look at you, and it's only a matter of time, if you ask me. The two of them are probably going to want to settle down, especially now that you had a breakthrough on the cure for that plague. I don't expect them to stay in it very much longer. Tristan's already stepped away, as you know, and Wilson drains his alcohol and he says, "And well, I reckon you remember what we talked about, eh, Commander?"
That I do.
I feel bad. I really do.
No.
It's just well, I think at the end of the day, I'll always really be a sea dog, you know.
You've always been a sea dog.
And would you believe, Captain Varro actually offered me a position as first mate on his new ship.
Well, you'd be crazy not to.
I was thinking the same.
Especially considering you're the second strongest of the brigade.
Oh, you can keep telling yourself that. And Nate, yeah, I reckon you can. And Elliot, or rather, God, not Elliot. Wilson laughs at that. I drink to that. Though, one thing that you will want to know is that we actually have had a couple of people who've showed interest in signing up to the brigade. Other mercenaries and sellswords that participated in the battle heard about what we did, saw what we did, and well, I have a number of their contracts.
Well,
if you want to take a closer look at them, I have them ready for you.
right, but I think at this point, the plan is to no longer be mercenaries.
I see. And Duke kind of puts their hand in their chin for a second.
Oh, what a mess this turned out to be.
And you had mentioned this to everybody else before. Have you mentioned this to the rest of the brigade? Really?
I would have. I just didn't really have time.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Right. So you're really going through with that paladin business then?
Well, we worked hard for it to win this war. I'd rather we keep what we've won.
It's admirable, Commander. Or, Davian. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's for me, ultimately. I'm sure other members of the brigade, former members of the brigade may be interested, but at the end of the day, I don't think knighthood or anything that you'll be participating in is quite the speed that I'm looking to participate in. The freedom of a sellsword, of a mercenary, it's something that I've sought for a long time.
I don't blame you.
Hey, I've got an idea, Wilson says. He claps Duke on the back.
Oh, I need
What
to
about
do
if you
this.
lead it? Oh, what? I beg your pardon, Wilson.
Well, yeah. You got what it takes.
I agree with the commander.
Plus,
I
there's
mean, if
plenty of recruits. He gestures towards the new contracts or applications.
and he like Wilson kind of claps them on the back again, and Duke kind of opens their mouth for a second as if to say something and then closes it, and I suppose I would be able to do that if you think. I wouldn't want to continue on the Mercer Brigade without a Mercer in it, though. That seems to be a bit redundant.
Ah, well, there's a thing about that. You don't actually have to be a Mercer to be a Mercer, if that makes sense.
And they kind of close their eyes and digest that for a second, and I see.
It's, as I said before, this is more than just a mercenary company. It's family.
You honor me, Davian, truly. And if my former commander orders me to take over the legacy that he built, what kind of person would I be to say no? And Nate nods and says, I'm with a mind for Davian and Wilson. I think you're more than worthy of picking up the slack. imagine what Zacchaeus will hear or will think when he hears this. Very well. And they'll take a hand and shake it.
Well, congratulations, Commander Duke.
That may take some time to get used to, but I don't think it will. Wilson says, I rather like the sound of it. In fact, if I weren't already signed up on the former Grand Admiral's crew, I might even consider coming back to join. And he claps Duke on the back.
I don't know. Maybe we called Captain Wilson.
That's the goal someday. Defense, he says, gesturing and passing drinks around to everyone. You too, Connor. Get your ass over here.
I'll drink.
Good.
And as you guys finish your drinks, Nate looks to you, David, and he says, regardless of what's happened, David, you know I'm a part of it.
I'm glad. Can do anything without you.
I'm glad you finally realized that. And he smirks and he claps you on the back.
I just didn't want to give you the satisfaction of saying no. Well,
I guess this is goodbye then, David. Or, well, not goodbye, but as far as business partnership is concerned, for the time being, would you like to do the honors? And Duke they produced the contracts for all of you guys actually.
He goes it. Ready when you are.
And Nate nods, and on the count of 3, you guys hold the contracts up and tear them.
Like all extra.
That we are.
I would have torn my own, Wilson says, but I kind of lost it. He shrugs.
Oh no.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. It's probably just in the sea.
I could have sworn I put it in my pockets, but I put a lot of things back there.
Oh. Okay.
And sometimes others put things back there.
Okay. All right. Oh.
I think that's sufficient, Wilson.
Anyways.
I don't know if my eyebrows have ever been so high.
They just fly off.
It's been an honor fighting alongside all of you.
And who knows? Perhaps one day the Paladins will have need of the Mercer Brigade.
Well, I mean, I can't do everything. And mercenary is still an honest business.
That it is. It's been an honor, Davian.
Likewise. He looks to Connor. Well, that's one down.
Yeah.
Guess we start
Where are we
talking
going
of it.
next?
Well, let's see about my cousin.
Hey, Nate, you gonna come?
I mean, you might as well. He's the only one left that's interested in the Paladins.
I
What?
guess.
You guess?
I don't know how much good I'm going to be at convincing her. It's not like she listens. She's
I don't-
like you, but like...
But, like...
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I don't need you there to convince her. I need you there to stand between me and her so she doesn't kill me.
Oh.
Wouldn't it be better if I, like, hunted down Tristan or something? He was a paladin, right?
Didn't he leave?
I
For, like, reasons of his own?
don't know.
We can find him later.
Fine. I'll be there, but I'm not saying shit unless the pipsqueak tries something.
I'm not asking you to say anything.
All right. Well, good.
All right.
And he grumbles a bit as you guys go off to find her.
And where would she be?
Probably just off getting some things ready with her folks and people. Maybe so probably you just catch her taking care of Tempest. It's probably a safe bet for her to be at.
Hey, Vic.
And she turns back and she leans up against the steed and looks back. Hey, cuz, what can I help you with?
Well, I got a proposition for you, if you're willing to hear it.
I reckon I ain't doing nothing else at the moment.
Well. I'm sure Flint talked to you.
I mentioned he mentioned you wanted to he mentioned you wanted to talk to me about something. I reckon he said it would be better if you'd said it yourself. Sounded awfully foreboding, if you ask me.
Oh. Okay.
The devil you thinking?
Well, I've been planning on remaking the Paladins.
An eyebrow raises and she cocks her weight onto one hip.
Connor here offered me a position.
Did you now?
Something like that. Definitely not, like, putting anyone between me and her.
She just begins tapping her foot on the dirt ground or on the grass beneath.
And with that, I figured, yeah, we won the war, but keeping the peace, that's the difficult part. wanted to make sure that everything we fought for and everyone we've lost wasn't in vain. So why not take a position that has legitimacy and weight to it?
You ain't about to say what I think you are you?
I was getting to that.
Absolutely the hell not. I ain't gonna be a part of nothing that that shares the same name as what killed Uncle Jake. You're a damn fool if you thought I was gonna even pretend to if I was gonna even pretend to be in something like that. Maybe you should let him finish, Nate says. Shove off, she responds.
As I said, we're not rebuilding it, we're remaking it. We don't have to keep the name. Look, the people look up to you. Just like they did your old man. I need that.
Yeah, and look what good it did both of them.
Connor kind of frowns, and they died for something they believe in. Are you gonna say that it doesn't matter what they did?
I ain't saying that. I ain't never said something like that.
And what is it that you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that I ain't interested. You can find someone else, cuz I don't want no part of this.
So is that it, huh? You holding a grudge over a title rather than what it was meant to be. Something that's meant to keep the peace, protect the innocent. And that's something I'm trying to do. That's something I'm trying to make. And I've already offered this to Flint. But you know what he told me? He told me that if anyone should have been given that position, it's you. And I see it. I see what he sees in you.
You don't even know me, cuz. How can you see anything like that?
You know, when you're a commander of a mercenary, you tend to see things other people can't. Potential.
Vic,
What?
would you want to help keep people safe?
I don't need to be patronized by you.
I'm not patronizing you, I'm asking.
It's what I've always done.
And gathering a group of like-minded people would help to do that, correct?
I reckon it would. So I hope you can find a whole bunch of like minds. Because I ain't interested. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got some other stuff that I'd like to take care of. And I've had enough of this. And she climbs up onto Tempest, and without saying another word, with a flick of her reins, she rides off.
That went better than I thought it would, actually.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, she'll either come around or she won't.
I'm sure she will.
She will. And an individual you guys don't really recognize comes up. He, judging from his garb, he is likely from Flint's gang, though it's not somebody that you've met personally. I knew Vic and her pops for a while. They're obstinate. She learned it from him, even though she ain't his direct blood. She'll come around to it. She's still hurt. If I know her, she's probably riding off to find Flint wherever he rode off to. But she'll be back. Don't take what she said to heart too much. She don't tell her I said this, but she could be a bit of a brat from time to time. You don't say, Nate says, rolling his eyes. She's got her heart in the right place, though. I reckon that's probably why she rode away. She weren't exactly sure how to say no. Not beyond the ways that she did. Appreciate what you're doing, Davian. I reckon, in his own way, Morrow would have appreciated it too.
I hope so.
Needless to say, before Flint rode off, he told us that we was all free to do what we wanted. A couple of the boys and girls rode back to Emden already, going back to doing what they're doing, but not all of them. If you Easterners have got some room for some for some of us folk from the West, we'd be more than interested to throw our hats in the ring as far as this whole paladin shindig is going. As long as you don't make us wear the armor and the badges, or at least the same ones, I reckon the folks will appreciate it.
Of course.
I think we can be a bit flexible about that. He kind of smiles.
Much obliged. In that case, I'll let the other folk, I'll let the other boys know what's going on.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. It'll be a privilege. What do I call you? Captain, commander, whatever.
What is
Boss.
the title for that?
Previously, it was Templar Commander. That's also a mouthful.
That it is.
Of course, it could be an official title, but... Oh, God, I just pulled Western accent all of a sudden.
You know, that kind of happens. We'll worry about that later.
And yeah. With that, kind of to summarize some of the things that happen. None of the other former Mercer Brigade members are willing to join, though Tristan is willing to temporarily help teach what he knows. Though he does not want to sign on full.
Understandable.
But unknown to you guys actually word begins to travel about you starting to talk about this new paladin order. And Davian, you're actually approached by one of the paladins, a man by the name of Ryder. He had met the third group during all of that. He was actually working on organizing the paladins that remained to try and bring to whatever government was going to be showing up an offer to keep them around. And considering you're already planning on doing that, effectively has offered to help you. And so he and whatever paladins he was able to convince are also going to be a part of this of your thing,
Yeah.
and he's going to be able to help with that. So yeah. As far as Vic, she leaves for a while. And nobody sees her for a couple of weeks. But by the time you guys actually start kind of getting things organized, Vic shows up again, and she will, in fact, offer to join the Paladins.
Yay.
She does not offer an explanation about as to why she had a change of heart,
That's fine.
but she will, in fact, join it after some time. So don't worry about that. Your cousin's going to come back. She just needed to pout and grieve. Pout some more.
Of course.
And let's see. All right, I've. Let's go ahead and I have one thing to do. And so Rinzu,
Yeah.
you probably need to tell Westland
Yeah.
about the fact that you're planning on leaving.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do that. Westland has been busy trying to help get things organized as far as these policies are concerned. It has really kind of doubled down on his on the on helping to make sure that people have representation, and has kind of naturally kind of become a bit of a source of charisma for others who have joined him in trying to get things started as far as infrastructure and such is being concerned. But you'd be able to find him probably in a meeting with talking to Beatrice as he kind of wraps that up. Beatrice has also been up to no good as she goes about scheming and getting ready to also help get at this political revolution started. As she has also made it clear that she wants to try and that. And so you'd be able to catch him. He looks tired. He's been very busy. But his smile softens as Beatrice leaves, and Beatrice gives you a wink as she half skips away. And
Of course she does.
Rinzu, it's good to see you. How is everything? I'm sorry I've been so busy. You probably haven't seen him in about a day.
Yeah.
You've still seen him, but most of the time it was probably just long enough for you guys to be really tired and then pass out.
Yeah.
Are you well? You look distracted. Is it about the Vulpine Lagoose from before? Have you learned anything?
I haven't, but I decided that I'm going to go to Fangrong with Sra to return him to his home.
And his breath kind of hitches in his throat for a second. I see.
I'm hoping to maybe find some answers.
I understand. As I said, you will have my full support in doing whatever you wish. And that's a worthy pursuit. But I... Rinzu, I beg you, please. Please come back. Take as much time as you need, but I don't know what I'll do without you here. I can't do this on my own.
She's gonna hug him.
I know that's not fair of me. You have a family. Probably back there somewhere, waiting for you. You have a life that you could lead, far away from this, one that you could choose. And I know that, but... I love you, Rinzu. I was afraid. I was afraid I wouldn't actually walk away from that conflict with my father, but now it's all over, and I'm afraid. There's so much to do, and there's so many things to keep track of, and I don't think I can do it alone. I want you. I want you to help. I want you to be here with me. There's no one else that I would rather share this house with. But I understand if you don't want to make such a promise. After all, you're free. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. And who knows what you might discover, Fengu. You deserve the best life that possibly waits for you out there.
Promise I'll come back.
He smiles. Words don't describe how happy I am to hear you say that. Then, if it is all right, if you still wish, I would be, he kind of fidgets for a moment. I'm not exactly sure how to put this, but if you wish, I would be honored if... And he reaches behind himself and grabs something out of his pocket and retrieves it. I would be honored if you would stand by my side as Lady Blackwild. And as he opens his hand, there's a beautifully crafted signet ring. One that you saw on his uncle's finger in the past. There's no one that I would rather share this duty and responsibility and family with. And now that the future stands before me,
Just going to look at the ring and then at him.
I would like you to be the one there. If you would do me the honor, of course.
Just going to fucking cut him again, and of course I will.
And he takes you in his arms and gives you a kiss.
I promise. While I'm gone, I'll write you.
I look forward to it.
I don't know how I'm going to actually be able to be apart from you for that long, but
It wouldn't be the first time, Rinzu. But at least this time it's with happiness on the horizon. How long until the merchantman arrives?
a little over a month.
And I suppose we'd best make sure that you're ready then. And make sure that we don't take any of this time for granted.
I love you, Wes.
I love you too, Rinzu. And leaning in, he will give you another kiss. As the screen fades to black. A few days after the war had ended, Cecil you and Orion made back for Dalhurst. And after a short period, you finally bore witness to the destruction that the town had been under. And after some tearful reunions, goodbyes, and farewells, after a while, perhaps for the first time since you got back to Dalhurst, a couple days later, as you're probably at the Zodian fleet with Misty and Hoden and whoever else would like to be present as far as the Zodians and friends are concerned. There's a small lifeboat that approaches as the ship is being repaired slowly but surely. The large chunk out of it kind of taken out. It's taking some effort, but it'll probably take at least a month or two. As they're hard at work, there's a single lifeboat, a strange looking one, that if as you look kind of closely, seems to be sleeker than any others that you've kind of seen. It almost seems to glide through the water. And as you take a closer look, Cecil, as you see the boat approaching, you see a number of Lagus in it, and one in particular stands at the prow of it. And you see with a big toothy smile, clad in very official looking garb from Garhold. You see Intarsia. And as soon as she sees you over, she immediately begins waving with one big hand as they approach.
Cecil, with a pit in her stomach, probably has been watching like a hawk for the last few days.
You've seen hawks.
Oh yeah, no, but watching like a hawk. I want to emulate their vigilance, if you will. But has been watching the horizon line for summons for nearly day and night. No rest. Very nervous. I mean, well, the second one is a very low bar, but that's okay.
It's good to see you again, Cecil. It's been far too long.
She, sheepishly waves a tiny hand, as you mentioned her large hands, and waves timidly, and it's good to see you again, Intarsia.
I trust my nuisance of a brother hasn't been too much trouble, has he?
She laughs and rubs the back of her neck. He's certainly capable in his own right.
And she laughs, and she gets to the side, and she and the other Lagus climb the rope ladder to like get up to the top, and they get on the thing, and she offers a hand to you, Cecil.
And Cecil will offer one out.
And she takes your hand, and then she pulls you in for a hug.
Sufficiently spooked and sufficiently shaking, she does return the hug regardless.
And she bows to Orion and nods to the others in the area. It's good to see all of you again. And it's good to see that all of you managed to keep yourselves in one piece. Sorry we were late. We would have arrived earlier, but you know. You try getting all of Garhold onto a ship. It's disgusting how many of our people get seasick.
You'll hear no complaints out of me. It seemed rather fortuitous at the time.
I heard you made quite an entrance.
She shrugs. All in a day's work. That said, I trust you know why I'm here. Yes?
Cecil nods.
Right then. I'll say I wasn't expecting everyone to come and meet on the shores, but I suppose they wanted to be a part of what was happening, and they wanted to see the depth of these claims. They wanted to witness the cruelty that was being dealt to our brothers and sisters. And for that, I suppose it's not too surprising.
Well, as much as I wish that they didn't have to be here whatsoever, I believe that it might be wise that they understand what their sisters across, what your brothers and sisters across the sea have, what has transpired for them. The experience, from what I can tell, the experience of a Legolan born has been far different from being raised within the Confederacy's bounds. Hopefully, to find shreds of commonality, there would be. She sort of looks down at her hands. It would be advantageous to. I'm glad they're here.
Me too. Chances are, if I had to wait the entire way to get back across the ocean, I would have second-guessed all of the arguments that I'm planning on putting forward. Or, well, not second-guess, but second-guess the wording of how you understand what.
Cecil smiles as best she can, given the nods.
I was sent here with the strict purpose of telling you that the trial is at dawn, when the sun rises tomorrow.
Well, I will answer the summons. Thank you, Antarcia.
That said, that's all that I was told to do. That means the rest of my schedule for the day appears to have just been freed up. And she looks around. Do you mind showing me around this monster of yours?
It's something. Sure. And so yeah, Cecil will lead the way.
And Tarsi's probably just gonna dick around with you guys for the rest of the day.
Yeah, buddies. Tall and small.
Tall and small. And yeah, Misty, Misty, Hoden, the two of you guys get to like chill with her. Like, it's pretty good.
Introduce her to cornhole.
Dude, it takes her a while to not throw it overhand.
Too hard.
She may have broken one of the boards. Shit.
It's alright, it's under construction anyway.
And yeah, and of course, Hoden, she would have complimented that crazy nonsense that you pulled at the end there.
Hoden just kind of like laughs at us, like, I kind of wasn't really thinking there, honestly. That could have gone much worse than it did, and well, we're sort of in your debt a bit.
Yeah, that's if you ask me, that's not even close to the truth. You displayed more courage there than I see in most Lagus I've ever met. Color me impressed.
I thank you. I think we're gonna need it in the near future because, well, there's a little bit of at some points discussions we may want to have about how Zodia and the Confederacy interact with each other. Obviously, there have been some changes on the human side of things. Might not be a bad idea to. Oh, go ahead.
She grins. Well, it's a good thing that we've consolidated power with Leonard then. I think he's going to be a lot more amenable than others.
Yes, we backed the right horse. Is that's a saying, isn't it?
She shrugs. Hell if I know.
It's a saying, yes, love.
Okay.
Is it?
That's strange.
Yeah, they're not predators. Why would you
What do you back horses for?
In horse races.
Mr. How have I never heard about this before?
I don't know, love. Now you did. Learn new things every day, don't you?
Then again, I don't imagine horse racing is very common in Zodia. It's probably dog racing, and probably wyvern racing, and definitely griffin racing.
I probably learned it in Legala.
The fuck is this shit?
Unicorn racing.
You backed the wrong unicorn.
Please.
And so you guys spend the evening together, and Orion spends a little bit of time, but probably has to go and take care of things. But like,
course.
you guys are good. Have fun. Like, he'll be around. And yeah. With that, in the morning, Intarsi actually offers to take you and anybody, and also would have informed you that you should get anybody else who's willing to testify on your behalf to do so, as you will have the opportunity to do so. And also Hoden, she would have actually approached you specifically. Hey, make sure you got something to say tomorrow.
Oh, I have plenty of experience. I promise I'll have better words. Character witness. That's the word I think I'm looking for. I've seen much of her character in the last couple of months. And being in a rather unique position of a Togwell serving underneath a Manakite once again, it's offered some perspective, I believe.
Be careful how you word that. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I will work with people much more versed in.
And she nods. Excellent. And yeah, so that morning, you guys and anyone else who wants to be present, honestly, could probably be present, as there's going to be humans and Togwell just bearing witness to this, and Lagus. And yeah, you could be there. And so as you guys sail, the sun setting or rising rather, casting a light on the shore of Dalhurst, you see more Lagus and Togwell gathered in a single place, Cecil, than you've seen in a very long time.
Okay. This is the song for them.
And as you glance amidst all of them, you see many different tribes present. Obviously, the most prominent ones that are present are the feline, the canine, the wolf tribes, as the recently rescued elders, the elder alphas, as well are there with many of their second in commands. Positioned, they're kind of just standing about, not particularly, just kind of almost pacing. The king of the Hawk tribe, his tattooed arms and bare chest, glistening in the morning sunset, as he's rather shredded, and he's positioned on, as you approach, you see him and some of the others kind of just perched up on one of the nearby dock buildings, and as they see you coming down, you see a grin on his face, and he flies down. Some of the others staying on there, but he flies down and takes a stands nearby as some of the others go. Leonar, on the other hand, as you approach, you see a man who you can only assume is King Leonar.
He's a king now.
He wears comfortable yet regal clothing. More Zodian than anything else that anybody else is wearing here, though not completely Zodian. And he as you approach, you see him pacing slowly and meticulously back and forth, his hands crossed, or his hands behind his back. And he stands tall as he walks back and forth. And as you approach, the massive monster of a man that you know to be Kevlar, judging from his description and his missing eye and his size, and Intarsia points out as much. That's my father, Kevlar. amidst everyone, he may be the one that you need to convince the most. And that's saying something. And she points out each of the wolf tribe elder alphas, as well as King Cade and of course Leonard himself. And she also points out several other important people who I'm not going to name all of them, but you see a man with short-cut black hair and a flicking black tail, whom you can only assume is a panther, likely some other important member. She explains that he's effectively their intelligence, the closest thing they have to a spy master. But there's a few more that you didn't expect to see. There's an owl Lagoose here, over off into the corner, just kind of with a parchment and a quill, and seems to be writing some things, and is just watching the entirety of the scene. You do see other Lagoos in Togwell, some that were freed. You actually see a couple of B Togwell. You see plenty of other of the more common types, a number of fox Lagoos and such as well, and plenty of humans. But as far as the leadership is concerned, you just see it from the main three. And slowly but surely, your ship pulls up, and they moor it on the pier.
Oh, a note. The emerald stone was most likely passed off to Orion.
Okay. Yeah, he has it. And he's with you, obviously. And he squeezes your hand.
I'm not sure if she can squeeze back given
That's
how
fine.
much she's shaking, but that's
fine.
all right.
All right, Cecil, Intarsia says. This is your moment to shine. Let's get this over with. And she smiles down at you.
Cecil nods and will carry herself in a manner. She carries on to the crowd.
And as you walk forward, everything goes silent as everybody kind of watches you. And as you stop, almost and the Lagoos and Togwell have almost formed a semicircle around you, as they kind of watch as you approach, and the others kind of standing nearby. And Leonard is the first one to break the silence. Cecilia, formerly of the Emerald Emblem. 'Tis a privilege to finally meet you.
Cecil offers a low curtsy, and it's good to meet you as well, King Leonard.
He nods. I've heard a lot about you, Cecilia. Cade says as he takes a step forward. Or Cecil. What should we call you? Perhaps we should start from there.
Cecil kind of doubles back a little bit, not necessarily expecting that question at first. Cecil should be fine.
Cecil it
Sir.
is, then. Cade will be king of the Hog Loggers. It seems I'll be one of the individuals deciding your fate today. Aren't you in luck? And Leonard shoots him a look that says, kind of requests a bit more professionality from him than he's currently showing, and he disagrees. And one of the elders of the wolf tribe steps forward, and I am Lynn, one of the elder alphas of the wolf tribes. Though it has been some time since I've returned to the land of my home, I have been informed of the situation that has come. And interestingly enough, near her, there's a woman with strawberry blonde hair, missing an arm, not too far from them, a human, which is interesting, of note. Obviously, those of you who had already met her would know this is Beatrice's mom. But she seems to be standing with the Lagus, with the wolf Lagus specifically. And after however many other introductions that need to be done, and this is my chief commander of war, Kevlar. I believe I do believe that you've already been acquainted with his daughter and his son, and both of them are obviously here as well. And Kevlar looks at you with his one eye, arms crossed. There's a bit of a scowl there.
He doesn't need to even scowl at me to be terrified. It's fine. He's good. You're doing your job. Good job, Kay.
Allow me to get this started then. Cecil, you know why you are here. The sins of your people, 1,000 years past, still burn brightly in the mind of all of our people. And the Confederates from every nation fear the very word dragon. Indeed, as word spread of your survival, your existence, it took a deal of coordination to prevent widespread panic and riot. And you understand why this is the case. Hence, why myself and my other fellows from the other states of the Confederacy took the liberty of meeting here. As this is something that can be long. And so, Cecil, in front of all of us, with human, Togwell, and Loguz's witness, in the name of the sea, stone, and sky, I would ask that you explain everything. Now is your opportunity. Use that voice, that eloquence that I saw in your letters. Share it with everyone. Share it with those who attention now.
She nods and note out of character. We've heard me parrot this
you don't
so
have to
many
actually repeat
times.
the whole thing.
Yeah, I would confirm with me that I need to not do it again. But Cecil does summarize, or doesn't summarize. It's some time that she speaks with stuttering, like stammers and stutters in between, as she explains her people's downfall, their descent, and the failure to listen, moving direct, or the failure to listen to those who they deemed any less than them. And in that regard, it moves through into today that the same problems and plights fall unfairly to the Togwa and Lagus once more. and if nothing else, to leave this world at least healed by even one person is something worthy and of note. Hence why she came to offer here. While she was but a child when this all happened, it's still something that it shaped every ounce of her.
And after hearing your story,
Gonna leave out those details.
he looks to the others at the council that is kind of formed, and brothers and sisters of the Confederacy, what say you on what we've heard here, and on what Cecil has told us? And the wolf alphas speak for a moment. And after conferring with the other alphas and with the strawberry blonde woman that stands behind him, I can confirm the stories that she's said. As many of you know, it was our own brothers that confined us, and for their own personal gain and greed, sent us overseas to get us out of the picture, to use the twisted mindsets of the Legala that now lies in ashes to their advantage. The dragons were a grave danger and a menace to our people. The stories all say that. But this trembling girl, forgive me. I find it difficult to find this as a threat. Do you not say the same, General Kevlar? Who's had a barely contained snarl on his face during the entirety of this. She is not a threat, no. But for how long will that remain? You know the tales. Those green of scale. How they scheme, how they plot. And look now, the King of Zodia stands behind her. How long before she attempts to get him in her pocket as well? All of us could be in our graves before she attempted anything. But you cannot truly think that merely because she is young, that she is no threat. You know how long she's alive. How long she has been able to nurse the wounds that the loss of her people have given her. If you ask me, her words mean nothing. They are less than wind. An interesting point of view, General Kevlar. I appreciate you sharing it. Kincaid, what wisdom do you have to share? If you ask me, King Leonard, we would be better off ensuring that, in the off chance that General Kevlar is right, such a thing never comes to pass. Sure, she may have started to make up the sins of her people, if such a thing were even to be possible. And yet, Kevlar has a point. She will live much longer than any of us, longer than our children, our children's children, and everyone beyond that. And community service isn't necessarily an equivalent punishment for the atrocities committed by her people. If you ask me, we should snap her neck and be done with it. And there's some murmuring from the crowd at that. The humans and alike. With all due respect, Intarsia says, King Cade. We do not all treat our prisoners with the barbarism found on Delos. What good would killing her do? Did you not listen to a word she said? Do you really think this is the end of what she's trying to accomplish? Intarsia, that's precisely what I was talking about. Kevlar kind of snarls. Do you know the first thing that she did when I arrived at Zodia on behalf of our king? She offered herself to me. She gave me the opportunity to exact punishment immediately. Before you talk, father, yes, it could have been a plot. It could have been her knowing full well that I would not have done such a thing without the express permission of me. And yet she did it nonetheless. Besides, father, you can't truly tell me that you're afraid of a child, are you? Was it not our very ancestor who cut loose their own bonds, their own chains, and defeated full-grown dragons millennia her elder? Even if she was trying to subvert our people, what could one solitary dragon hope to do if that was even what she was trying to do? I have watched her. She has risked her life for Loguz, for Togwell, for human. But you know what she's not risked her life? Herself. And I would like to clarify, for the purposes of the court, the proper term is Dragonel, not dragon. And Leonard smirks a bit at that. Kevlar's fists clench, and he takes a step forward. Insolent child! And Leonard puts a hand on his chest. This is an open forum. I would remind you of that, General. Your daughter has every right to speak her mind. And all gathered present would benefit from hearing her keen wisdom. Say your clause. Yes, my king, as you command. An impassioned defense, Ambassador Intasia. You honor me, King. Would any else gathered amongst us contribute to this forum? I dare say the more information we gather, the more just our decree shall be. And at that point, a number of other individuals begin bringing stories up. The first one, Cecil, is a young girl, a Togwell, one that you personally helped rescue during Mission 3. No more than 14 years old. And she explains exactly what you did. Exactly what everyone did. What you did alongside of humans and Togwell and mages, Legolans and Zodians. And that she doesn't know who any of these people are. She's never known the Confederacy. And she doesn't know if she'll even return there. She doesn't have a family. But what she does know is that someone who saved her life doesn't deserve to be punished. More of these testimonies come forth. Humans, Lagus, Togwell, mages, priests, laymen. And of course, there are individuals who bring solid points. Confederates who came with them. They point forth the risks. The fact that there could be more. What if she finds others? What if others are not as willing to compromise? What if others don't have her same mindset? What if others twist her towards their own ends? And, of course, you would be given chances to speak back to many of these. Are there any points that you would want to bring up towards any of those?
Boy. There are no other dragons until season 2, and everyone is mandated to play Manakete. But with that in mind, I guess it was probably discussed, because I think that you and I discussed about this out of character, that we weren't going to talk about the Zodia thing. You know, the intention rather early on.
Unless you think that would be wise.
Not at this point. I think we need to take this one step at a time. Fair. Like, actually. That's why I was just making sure that, I think, because I vaguely remember discussing that.
Though you could at least say that you're planning on working with him.
No, that's where I was headed. Working alongside, Cecil would have brought up that working alongside of the Zodian Crown with King Orion, not only to make a safer environment for the Togwa and Lagus that are in the space of Zodia, that do call it home, working to subvert that mentality. There is also the fact of, I do believe that she would say that she believes there are others out there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's at least Neely.
Yes. So there have been 2 thus far, and we can sleep for a very long time. So, with that in mind, there is a paramilitary effort, at least on her part, to not only catalog, but make aware basically, Manaketes will need to submit 2 of rules that are going to be strict, and she too will follow this. But if they don't handle themselves, then they will subsequently be executed.
Leonar's eyebrows would go up a little bit as you say that, genuinely taken surprised at the conviction.
Cecil has a rather firm stance on this, in fact. And if the thing of Neely was raised, let it be known that Neely is younger than I. Neely is the equivalent of 8 years old. She's untouched by hatred. She is untouched by the prejudice that our people have laid forth. And so thus I represent her here as well. And I'm sure that there can be any amount of character testimony for Neely as well.
Mm-hmm. Would any PCs like to offer anything?
Misty would step forward, or Hoden, if you want to go first.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna put the music back on.
Misty would step forward. I first encountered Cecil in Ascension back in Zodia. Unbeknownst that she was a Manakite, I was confided in that by Prince Connor, in fact. He approached me with my awareness of wyverns, seeing that was the closest thing we had at the time. A fact that Cecil failed to note, and she's going to send Cecil an apologetic look.
I think Cecil knows what's coming, so she flinches, but...
Cecil was living in penance for the sins of her forebears. She was nearly dead, emaciated and starved, not eating nearly enough for what she should, a very slow and painful death that she was doing out of the grief of her forebears. Someone that had an alternate means and an entire plan in the long run would not have been doing that. And yet, from that point onward, she has done nothing but serve those around her to try and make up for those that have come before her, even though she was a child and not one that was personally responsible for anything that happened. Just something to note. Well, there's a lot of talk of other plans and schemes. I don't think that was something that would have come into fruition. Not if she died a death by herself out in the middle of nowhere because no one bothered to help her. Which, had someone not approached her, would have been the case.
I see. Thank you for sharing, Zodian.
I think after that, Alistair would like to follow up, unless Misty wanted to say anything else.
That's basically her point, because that's her direct involvement was that.
Yeah, and Alistair was actually planning on bringing that up too, but can also confirm that Cecil didn't actually seek help. It was essentially forced upon her. I was the one that she had asked me to basically not say anything about her state. But yeah, basically that same thing, but kind of backing up Misty.
Mm-hmm.
And also saying she's been crucial in stuff here and helping Tugwell and Lagoose. So basically backing up everything that's been said before.
I think at that point, Hoden kind of stepped forward. If it please this tribunal, I would offer testimony to the character of Cecil. I have traveled with her, fought alongside her, and strove to sow peace among nations and peoples at great personal risk. If you would condemn her on her lineage, then you would fall to the same prejudice that seeks to divide humans from Togwell and Lagoose. from mages and non-mages. There is no past, that much is certain. But this confederacy and the actions that were taken in the war, these were aimed at a future of cooperation. And so I ask you, for I do not possess the wisdom, will punishing this victim bring about any further peace?
And at that, there's like a bit of silence.
Oh god.
What is your name, Togwell?
Sir Hoden, sir.
Sir Hoden.
Yes.
That is correct, Orion says, and he takes a step forward. Despite being a Togwell and originating outside of the Zodian borders, Hoden has been elevated to rank of full knight in service to myself. I can assure you that his testimony is both sound and wise.
Hoden kind of beams at that.
Thank you, King Orion. And thank you for sharing your own wisdom, Sir Hoden, Zodian.
Thank you.
And if it pleases the assembly, Orion says, he walks past you, putting a hand on your shoulder as he goes. I would like to corroborate all of the information that has been said. I have pledged my word that alongside of Cecil, I will do everything in my power to reach out to not only humans and Logus and Togwell, but any Manicheets that happen to still be out there somewhere. And I pledge that should any be found, yours will be the first missive that I send. Cecil has risked her life to save me on many occasions, and was integral in the retrieval of your own birthright, King Leonard. Without her, I do not know if we would have succeeded, but I do know that I would certainly not be standing here today. I believe that in the future, we can enjoy a newfound peace between our people. And perhaps one day, we may all share a seat on the global stage as tried and true allies. Such a thing could never have come to pass had Cecil not put herself in harm's way for my own benefit and for the benefit of others. Others that have built this peace, have brought as they had said before, brought your people the chance to live the life that they wish. So I thank each and every one of you for listening. And I pray that the wisdom that our decision here will echo through not only the past, but the future lays close in your mind. And I'm sure many others will bring further testimony forth, and this probably goes for a while. Probably several hours of people bringing forth things. And Hiei obviously would have his own testimony to bring forth as well. She would do so. And does anybody else have anything to add specifically that they want to? Yeah, if you want to bring that forth, you can either just say that you do, or you can actually can. Either one.
I feel like Orion gave like the ending statement, so I really don't want to.
Well, I mean, that could have you could have also gone before him too.
Yeah, like I would have mentioned stuff about that too. Like,
yeah, like basically, I just talked about like mission 3, and swore multiple times about free loggers and talk about from slavery before trial, where she very very much assumed she would die.
Yeah. And Rinzi, you probably would have. You said you would back that up pretty much because you were literally there in the cages with her.
yeah.
And after listening to all of this testimony, you look about, and as you guys are kind of Leonard takes a brief recess as they all the council kind of begins to debate and deliberate. And as you look of like the people who are going to be making these decisions, the alphas and the major leaders of each of the different tribes, the different officers under Leonard, the different alphas and the different warriors that Kate had brought. You're not exactly sure where the majority is going to fall. It seems like it seems to be somewhat split in several of the groups. And as you guys kind of listen in and see their body language as they're talking, it looks like it could go either way. And after a brief recess, everybody's called back together. And Leonard steps forward. Cecil, the council and I have deliberated. And the representatives of the Confederacy here have come to a decision. Amongst the leaders of the Confederacy, the majority have come to a consensus that the risk implicated in your survival outweighs any benefits that there possibly could be. And for that, Cecil, you have my sympathy. And the crowd begins to whisper a little bit. And you hear some people starting to kind of get upset. Some of the Lagus and Togwell that have been freed, some of the humans, and I'm sure plenty of the PCs. And Lena raises a hand, but such a decision is not for 12 Lagus and Togwell to make. And the other members of the council look to him. With confusion on their faces. With a vote so close, I believe it to be a disservice to all of the Confederacy for us to make such a decision on such a swing. And Kevlar looks to him and narrows his eyes. My king. And he raises a hand again. That is enough, General. I would open the council to include each and every Togwood and Logus in presence today. Only with representation from each and every Confederate tribe can we truly enact justice in this situation. For this does not affect just our 3 tribes. No, this affects every Logus and Togwell across all of Orn. And so I propose to the council that we will in fact have a recount. And they kind of talk amongst themselves for a while, like for a second, and all in favor. And one by one, many of the council agrees. 'Tis only fair, Cade says. And he turns to look at everyone. The brothers and sisters of the in sky. I would ask all of you, who among you believes that Cecil, formerly the Emerald Emblem, deserves death for the sins of her forefathers? And you hear some people raise choruses of eyes. And who is against such a thing? And the Logus and Togwell in the crowd, many of those gathered here today, and all of those who you've befriended over the course of this journey, stand. And in a decidedly larger percentage of the crowd steps forward with a chorus of nay. And Kevlar beams at you for a moment, and Leonar, a grin appears on his face as he brings his arms back together, having gestured out towards the crowd. And he turns back at you, and there's a twinkle in his eye as he looks back to you. Then the people have spoken, Cecil. You will have your life. And any among the Confederacy, he looks about to everyone else, and any amongst the Confederacy who goes back on this oath shall be dealt with in turn. Is that clear? And you hear a couple of grumbling yeses and nonchalant yeses and affirmative yeses. This, of course, does not go without measures. I can count on the fact that you will be true to your word, and that the promises that you made here today will be upheld on a penalty of your life otherwise. Is that clear?
Cecil nods deeply, a bit shook at everything, but and may you tell your children of that promise as well.
Certain. And on that note, I believe that it would be wise that you keep all of the Confederacy informed of any other individuals of your people that you find. Such people will be held to the same standards that you are, and the same promises that you made. And should any amongst your people bear children, I would expect them to be under the self-same constraints. But you are right, Cecil. Your people made unforgivable crimes against ours. But you are not your people. That much is evident from today. So raise your head high, Cecil. Though I dare say none among us perchance have much to compare it to. You are a credit to your people. And may this be the beginning of an on that could perchance be for more than one or the other. This forum has come to a conclusion. Thank you all for your attendance and your participation. And he turns, and as he does, there's a decided whoomp as Intarsia is the first one to scoop you up in her arms and give you a big old twirl hug. And
I'm pretty sure that Cecil's just under silence, so that's just gonna.
And
she might be jello.
And you did it, Cecil. I knew you could.
I certainly couldn't have done anything without Thank you, and thank you, Tarsi.
And she shrugs and says, I was just talking back to my old man. After all, I do that plenty of times.
He's gonna eat me.
Not if I have anything to say about it. And on that note, he, as you look back, has made his way across the way to you. And he looms for a moment. Intarsia. And she stops. Father. And scowling down at her for a moment. You have grown strong. But do not let that do not let that forget where you came. You have much to be proud of. You handled yourself well. and you are deserving of our king's ear. He turns away. Congratulations, Cecil. Do not prove me right. As he walks away, Intarsia, thank you, Father. He stops for just a brief moment, but then continues. And Cecil, as you're surrounded by your friends who I imagine are overjoyed to see that you're not going to get murdered in front of all of them.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks, fam.
Orion smiles and grabs your hand once more. I told you we would make it through this.
She searches the ground for a moment. Amidst giving, by the way, ample thank yous to everyone, like excessively so to the point where it's like, Cecil, please shut up. Like, you good.
Don't you have some other country to go to? Please go.
There's a giant hole in the ship, Brent.
You have to deal with this for at
They're
least
working
another
on
month.
it.
A whole month of thank you cards. No, Cecil, no! I don't want any more edible arrangements!
Gotta still make socks.
Wait, employ Delphine. Make her make all the cookies for the edible arrangements. She'll do it.
But she looks at Orion. Again, I think that ragdoll physics got turned on somewhere in there for like a bit. But she sorry, eyes got me. I think if I said thank you one more time today, Connor might beat me over the head.
She might not be wrong.
But
no, it's been enough.
This is for Orion, not for you, Connor. Get out of here. You're almost having you'll. I'm sorry. Words are increasingly hard, but you're almost having me. You almost. I love you and your optimism. You know that. She says very, very quietly, just enough for him to hear, barely above a whisper.
And he smiles. Well, it's a good thing that I'm not going anywhere then, isn't it? Well, and he smiles and kind of looks off at the silhouette of the still being repaired Atlas. Well, except for home. Our home.
I'd like that.
And he'll give you one more squeeze before he lets you swirl back into a tornado of thank yous.
Ragdoll physics on. Connor, get the baseball bat. She's really easy to hit right now.
Boom, boom, boom.
I have this useless book right now.
We're back.
A good book spec
And
hurts.
with that, as I imagine the rest of the day probably turns into like a day of relaxation as that thing happens.
That probably took a good part of the day.
Yeah, it's probably lunchtime. It took a
Jesus.
while. With that, we'll call it for the evening. All right. And so on Monday, we will finish up the last few things that we have to do in like the immediate time, and then we'll jump forward, do a couple of these other interactions that people have. And that's going to be the end of it. There'll be some people leaving, meetings, and yeah. Then on next 1 week from today, I'll be reading the epilogues out.